Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Hello and aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining the Moana Nui Podcast. For those that have watched the show and that's follower of the show, of course, you're probably noticing we're missing someone. Unfortunately, Moana is under the weather. She let me know, so everyone, our thoughts and prayers are with her as she's recovering, and hopefully she'll be back with us next week. But, of course, we had an amazing show for our 7 o'clock with Malachi's Corner, which he had a very special co-host, his nephew, that came on. And, of course, they talked about mental health for both the children that are experiencing during this pandemic, but then also having author Mark J. Kelly to talk about his book about mental health, about overthinking, and about clarity, getting clarity in what you're doing. But as far as on for our 8:30, another part of helping you within your life, and especially women in our audience and those that are watching on the replay, we have another special guest. You probably have seen her for our Power of No panel. Well, of course, we asked her to come back. um, she started her career as a managed consultant at Accenture, working with clients including Bristol Myers, PepsiCo, and Cargill. In 2011, she started Venture for America, VFA, a national nonprofit and fellowship program for recent grads to launch their careers as entrepreneurs. After 6 years as its COO, she left New York to start another company in Atlanta's startup ecosystem. VFA continued its success of recruiting over 200 fellows each year and recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary. Ellen is a startup culture and community builder. She is now the co-founder of the Lola, a members club and community for professional women. The Lola is located in the Old Fourth Ward neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. She also serves as an advisor and mentor for Ventures for America, is an advisor at Project Entrepreneurs, a program to support female entrepreneurs, serves as on the Change Makers board at Hands On Atlanta, and is a board member at the Springs Research Foundation. She is born and raised a New Yorker and graduated from Columbia University. Everyone, please help me welcome our guest for tonight, Eileen Lee. Welcome, Ellen, to the show.
Hi, how are you, Dana? Thanks for having me back.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're so very excited to have you on here and for the audience to learn more about you, but also about your organization, the Lola. So, of course, for anyone we invite as a guest onto the show, we always start with the Pico or the origin story. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little fun fact about your hometown.
I liked that question a lot. I have a good one for it. I don't think I normally would have. But I'm born and raised in New York. I grew up in a suburbs outside of Manhattan. Always had my eye on New York City, so got there the first chance I could get. My parents immigrated from South Korea in the early 70s. So my brother and I grew up in predominantly white and Jewish neighborhood and school. So I feel like a lot of people and listeners know, how that goes, being sort of the minority and sort of the token Asian growing up. But yeah, I spent most of my life in New York. I moved to Atlanta a little over 5 years ago, first time living outside because I went to undergrad there and kind of stayed in Manhattan and Brooklyn for about 15 years post-college. And so I grew up in a town, it's called the City of Rye, R-Y-E. No one's really heard of it. It's very small in Westchester County. But recently, this was post divorce from Kim Kardashian, Kanye West tried to buy the City of Rye. Apparently, the City of Rye has some substantial debt, and his offer was, I'll get you out of this debt hole. I'd like to purchase the city, and then I'd like to drop the R to make it the City of Yay.
Wow. Okay. That is an interesting story about your hometown.
I know. I don't think many people have heard it, but I have a friend, we have some good friends who moved to my hometown. They're not originally from there, and they sent me like the Rye Herald, the local newspaper, and I just was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, this puts us on the map.
It may or may be not how you want to be put on the map, but put on the map. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is so crazy. And yeah, unfortunately, with everything that's been going on with him, it's not a surprise either. Yeah. So, it is definitely one of those that's just like, wow, okay. Well, great to know that about your hometown. Of course, with hearing your background and everything, how did your passion for community begin, and what moment or person inspired your passion?
It's a good question because I've started two businesses that are very community centric. And I think if I look back as a kid, I had one older brother. We actually went to a prep school that was not in our hometown. So we had to commute about 20 minutes into the Bronx to go to school. So I never had that community where you can like run across the street. And I didn't know any of the kids in my neighborhood because I never went to school there. And I feel like I always had this desire to have that community, the ones that you see on TV, the ones that my friends very much had in different areas. My family was kind of your typical like tiger parents, very not, I don't want to call them emotionless, but not into like traditions of building community within family. Like I always wanted to do all the fun, cheesy things as it relates to like the different holidays and stuff. Okay. And my parents were just too busy, sacrificing everything for us. So I think I always had that desire. I've always been the host and the organizer in any sort of friend or, personal group. And I kind of fell into it. My first company, I met my business partner. He had the idea already, and I immediately hooked on and jumped in the next day. And then I was open. I moved to Atlanta. I knew I wanted to start another company. I was open to whatever the idea was, and somehow fell into community again. So I think at this point, 10 plus years later, I'm like, okay, I think I enjoy doing this kind of thing. And I look forward to doing that now, living in Atlanta and having more of that local neighborhood feel, getting to know my neighbors, my daughters and their classmates and other folks.
Awesome. Well, of course, in the intro, and of course, we're showing in the banner below about the Lola. You helped co-founded the Lola. How did the idea for the Lola happen, and what made you take the leap to start I will call it a professional development membership kind of organization?
Yeah. So I mentioned I knew I wanted to start another business moving to Atlanta. I didn't know a single soul. I was also pregnant at the time with our first kid, so I knew we wanted to start a family. So I just started having coffees and asking people to connect me with anyone who might be interested in co-founding a business with me. And after so many coffees, I met Martine Resnick, my co-founder, and she and I really aligned on wanting to better support professional women. She's come from a long background in corporate. I've been in startups for the past decade or so. And we both realized, we both agreed that it still really sucks. It doesn't matter if you're at a small company or a big company, navigating the workplace is still incredibly challenging for women, and it shouldn't be, but it is. So how can we better support professional women, working parents? So we started talking to as many women as we could. In our first year, we spoke to about 3,500 professional women in Atlanta. And after speaking to so many women, we definitely had the conviction that, a female forward space is not new. They used to have women's clubs and, decades ago.
Yeah.
But if you look at the vast majority of physical spaces, they're still to this day in 2022 designed with men in mind when it comes to the temperature of offices, to the weight of doors, prescription drugs. Women are still very much like overdosing in many cases because it's not effectively tested on women, particularly, women of color and people of color. But so we were we kept on kind of presenting an idea of what if there was a physical space designed with women in mind? What if there was a community where we had an abundance mindset? Because so many of our workplaces have this scarcity mindset where unfortunately women are led to believe that there's only room for one person at the top. So there's this competitive sort of toxic vibes and sentiment. So we launched in July of 2019. For a full year before that, we built community and we fundraised, which always takes longer than you hope. And we were able to find 200 women who were ready to go. They paid for membership for 1 year, even before we opened, and moved right into our space. We had been meeting at this boutique hotel for a full year, building community, trying to figure out what kind of events and resources can we provide to our women that they'd be excited to continue to come back for in like a co-working space environment. So we launched in July 2019. We were growing. It was super exciting. And then unfortunately the pandemic hit and it feels like we're just starting to get back to it. So it's been a long 2 years for us.
Well, with you mentioning about the pandemic, how did your organization be able to pivot during the pandemic? Because you had in person, a lot of companies were dealt with in person, being in a facility, and all of a sudden people have to quarantine during the pandemic, but you still got to keep your organization, your business running. How did y'all pivot to keep that connection to your members and continue growing with new members with the pandemic going on?
Yeah, that first week, I think it was a Friday, we were like, I think we need to shut down. And then we hosted 3 to 5 in-person events a week at the time. So we just moved all of them to Zoom. I feel like we picked up Zoom really quickly. We had heard about it. We had used it a little bit. We picked it up and our members jumped right on board. I think it was how the pandemic has ebbed and flowed over the past couple of years as far as engagement virtually. Some people with Zoom fatigue, we lost some folks with different peaks and valleys of the pandemic. People wanted to come back in person and then pull back. So we've constantly had to evolve based on where we are. We lost a lot of our members that first year in 2020, unfortunately, and it was because they were furloughed. They had to quit their jobs and take care of family members or children. It was all the things that we've heard. We're hearing firsthand from our members. So that was really heartbreaking to hear and challenging for us as a business. But then in 2021, we launched our digital platform. So we always wanted to have a digital community aspect to what we do. So we just pulled that forward, and we have a digital only membership now for those who are outside of Atlanta. We do have digital members who live in Atlanta, but Atlanta is very sprawling and the traffic's awful. So they're kind of a little bit too far to come in very often. So we have folks who engage, and we do a lot of our events virtually still via Zoom, but we also just have started in-person events as well.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Now, of course, as I was reading your bio and just hearing all the stuff that you're involved, you have the Lola, but you're still very much involved with, being a board member on the Spring Research Foundation. You're serving on the Changemakers board at the Hands of Atlanta. and then you're still, an advisor with your project with entrepreneur, and then mentoring and advising with Ventures for America. With all of that, and being a wife and a mother, how do you balance having your business and be involved with so many entities and your home life with your family?
We like to say that work-life balance is an absolute myth, and it's really striving to find optimal work-life integration. And,
Mm,
starting a business, I think that quickly made me there's like not many boundaries in good and bad ways. My first company, no boundaries, meaning I gave my life, I was eating, breathing, and sleeping,
mm,
building that company. So everything else got neglected. But this time around, and I knew if I was going to do it again, I had to find a better way to not only prioritize my husband, who very much got neglected during my first company, but also start a family. So I'm finding it, I'm figuring it out every day. The pandemic has given us, some benefits in that regard. I used to be at the Lola 5 days a week with Martine, two of us.
mhm,
And since the pandemic hit, I only go in, about 2 to 3 times a week.
mhm.
We've leaned on, we have some great community managers who have been members of the Lola for a long time, and they help keep an eye on the space and make sure things run smoothly. No surprise, professional women are incredibly respectful and considerate. So every one of our members is incredible at making sure they look after our space too. They really do treat it as their second home.
Mm,
Um, and then pre-pandemic, when we did 3 to 5 events in person a week, in retrospect, that seems insane. My daughter, my now 4.5-year-old daughter, went to a lot of those events, sat quietly in the back, ate her snacks, and probably watched some iPad. But yeah, I mean, if anything, that I've been able to find a better balance over the past 2 years. We've all been forced to kind of sit in our quiet homes.
yes.
But it's always a challenge. I mean, I'm thankful that I have a very flexible schedule. So I took my daughter to Boomerang. It's one of those crazy kid like hippo hop entertainment
Yeah.
zones on Tuesday. And so it's, I try to take moments and take advantage because I know she's going to grow up really quickly. And I have a 1-year-old as well. But I don't know. It's the balance. Is it Katanji Jackson who's being confirmed? And I think she said that it's always a balance. And did she make
Yes.
all the right choices all the time? She didn't. And I think she was sort of apologizing to her kids. And that's
Mhm.
just a hard thing to hear as a mom because
Yes.
you're never going to get it right.
Exactly. Like they said, there's no manual to being
Yep.
a parent.
Yep.
And I love that fact because I had that with my niece, that my sister Dora, she would come, and we had a professional development organization that she was a part of, to keep herself connected as a mom to the work community. As once her kids got to an age that she felt like she could go back into the workforce, and
Mm.
she would bring her daughter, my niece, and it was so cute because as she got accustomed to it, and then when her mom finally went to work, she's looking at her like, aren't we going to go see, go here? And she's like, no, I'm, this. And she missed the organization more than
Um, and that to me, she was a great role model, right? She got to see and be exposed to,
Mhm.
smart and powerful women. So hopefully
Yes,
some of those things are good for their upbringing.
exactly. And now she, she's much older. Of course, she's in school, but she's very meticulous about stuff. And a lot of people say, oh my gosh, she's like this, but it was because she got to see some of that. She saw how, like, you know, someone will take minutes and things like that. So she
Oh
observed
yeah.
all of that. And then her mom was over she was like the treasurer for the organization. So she got to see how keeping those records and keeping track of stuff. So it's like all that ingrained in her so early. So she actually does a lot of that. So I think that is like you said, it's often said that parents are the first teachers, and whether we realize it or not, they learn so much from us, from the stuff we say to the things that we do. So you definitely started that early impression on your little ones because of that, integrating them with your business. So that is beautiful. I love that. Of course, I'm going to circle back to the Lola. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about the Lola and what it provides for those that, are learning about it for the first time on the show?
Yeah, sure. So, in many ways, we tried not to call ourselves a co-working space when we first launched because we believe we're so much more than just a co-working space. But it's
Yeah.
hard. We call ourselves a members club and community, and some people are like, I don't know what that is. And recently, someone said, you should call yourselves a members club versus a co-working space. And I was like, okay, it's good feedback. Thank you.
It really
But
is.
we've also called ourselves your third space. So you have your home and your office, but this is a
Mhm.
space for you as a woman to invest in yourself. And that truly, continues to stand in the sense that if you do have an office, some members come here to get away and get some deep focused work done, distraction
Mhm.
free. A lot of our offices now are homes. And today, a member said to me that there always seems to be laundry and dishes to do when she needs to really get, those meaty projects done. And she
Yes.
said that coming to the Lola and having distraction free work and getting to be around, other women who are doing similar things and are like minded, it just, we continue to hear that the sort of the positive vibe and energy is just, it feels really relaxing and great.
Mm.
So you can very much be productive, but then also serendipitously meet other women who you normally wouldn't meet in your day. Another big benefit, particularly if you're a business owner, is there's so much resource sharing and connections and collaborations being made. Another member told me today, we had a member coffee at our space. She said that she's a social emotional learning coach for elementary schools. So she is very much focused and passionate about the craft of what she does, but less so about building the actual business that she's building. But she was able to connect with other marketing professionals. Another member she met with, helped her relaunch her website. So we like to say, like, look no further. If you need a graphic designer, we got one for you. If you need a
Nice.
coach, we have plenty to select from. If you need to write a will as a parent, we have a great estate planning lawyer. So
Oh,
it's an
that's
easy
great.
way. Yeah, it's an easy way to collaborate and support other women-owned businesses. And then we also have a lot of community groups where we talk about. We have our founders and freelancers community group, and we talk about favorite platforms for like project management, time management, automations. How do we streamline the things that we do better so we
Yes.
can work with more ease?
Oh, very nice. See, now I know a lot of people in our network, especially the creatives. We have a lot of creatives in our in our community. Uh, that will probably be essential. And a lot of times, I have seen, especially working in the corporate worlds, that oftentimes there's plenty of like you said, membership clubs and networking for male executives that they constantly have, whether it's networking on the golf course or something like that. But you don't see it as often for women in that world. So a lot of women don't have the network or build or know how to properly network to build their connections and also build themselves to be considered more on that leadership level versus being at their current level. So this is
Yeah.
a great opportunity to really give that additional foot up to kind of level the playing field a little bit more.
Absolutely, you said it. Men have been doing it naturally on the golf course, at the bars, watching, sports game for so long, and women just tend not to be as natural at it. And it's so important, regardless of if you work at a big company or if you work for yourself, to have, people tell you to make sure you find your sponsors or build your own board of advisors.
Hmm.
Absolutely, you can't do it alone. And even if you are doing it alone, you feel isolated. And then again, the stats against women around, confidence, because not because we're not confident, but society and the way we were raised is telling us, otherwise. So
Yeah.
absolutely having people who are your cheerleaders, your hype women, your support and your resources, I think is essential. until we can, I don't know, until the workplace better supports us.
Exactly. And it's also the part I often have seen being in the corporate world, and of course, they're often said is a lot of times for men that are very confident, they're called it confidence, they call it, this air of being knowledgeable and stuff. But oftentimes, if a woman gives that same air, they're given a different title.
Yeah.
They're not seen as confident, they're kind of seen as, you know, aggressive. They're seen, they're given so many other titles. So, how also with the programs that you offer at the Lola, how can do you help the women navigate those stigmas that tend to follow women when they have that confidence that they can show they're just as confident as their male counterparts and sometimes have more to bring to the plate than their male counterparts, and also dealing with the stereotypes that are out there, and the microaggressions that tend to be for women, of course, being the caregivers. They can't stay late because they have a family, or if you don't have a family, then you're first up to the block to have the bigger long projects whether you want it or not. How does it also help women navigate to deal with those situations if they are in companies or corporations, with their networks and the learnings they get from the Lola?
Yeah, I mean, we joke around. We have like a mothers and women's room. It's a dark and really great place to, like, if you have to nurse or pump or take a nap or maybe scream in a pillow. So we're great for venting and supporting you. But we have a lot of our different community groups. And when you're saying, women they use different adjectives to describe you if you're outspoken, etc. We have a wonderful group we call Encore Career. So it's more senior women who are not ready to retire, but not looking to propel in their career.
Yes.
They're all looking to give back and sort of bridge the connection to the younger generations. And they have similar challenges like taking care of elderly parents, aging parents, their empty nesters, etc. But they also talk about this where, a man walks in the room, he has a little bit of gray hair, salt and pepper hair, and everybody's so curious, like, what does he have to say? Because he seems wise and experienced. Yes. But a woman walks in with gray hair, she's absolutely invisible. So I think through all the stages, and we have members who are, in their 20s through 70s, close to 80s. And we love that about it because I've been able to build friendships with people who are 10, 20 plus years older and younger than me. And to just have that sort of span and experience and insight of what's ahead, and supporting those who are kind of experiencing what I've already gone through, it has been so valuable. We also joke around that we have unfiltered conversations because it's a safe and comfortable space for women. So we talk about our uteruses a lot because that's what makes us, special and different. So, I think it's a lot of making sure we have those conversations, because when you are in an office or in a workplace, even if it's a Zoom virtual place, you filter your conversation. You're not going to actually say exactly what you mean because people probably don't want to hear it anyway. So we do have a lot of very open, we get real fast and talk about the challenges. We have a great accountability and goal setting community group. That's great for, even if it's like, I want to negotiate an offer to, I want a career change, or I need to complete this marketing project. This group meets in 8-week sprints every week, and people come as they are, and you just talk about your challenges, and you connect with these women who are there to support you. And oftentimes the conversation evolves and people kind of ban around one person who's having a particularly challenging day or week. It's wonderful. I think that's why when women are great, they're, some of the adjectives they use, we definitely can be more like intuitive, attuned, and sensitive, but in the best ways for one another. Yes. So again, I've learned so much from all of these women in the Lola community, from a professional standpoint, also as a personal standpoint, and as a mom, as a new mom, I've learned so much from these women.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to that we're hearing these programs that can be very essential no matter where you are in your career. especially the fact that you have such a range of women from 20 to 70. Because I know when I was in my 20s, I was just trying to figure out the world, especially the business world and the corporate world. And you get, I call it a small percentage from school and from college that you get, but they don't give you all the other, I call it the other 80% of the nuances
Mhm.
and how to navigate, how to network, all of that that you have to have within the corporate world. So having that range and then having that access to all of that knowledge and wisdom from those that have been there, done that, have the T-shirt and probably
Mhm.
bought the whole billboard sign, can give you that insight of how to do that. Or if you're trying to start your own business, they can talk to someone who's doing that to make sure they're not making similar mistakes, or learn some of the stuff that they have gathered over the years of what you need to do that. So that is amazing opportunities that uh, any woman can have. And with you having this digital opportunity, that they don't have to live in Atlanta, you could be in California and still be a part of this great community. So that is amazing.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to mention, we because we're in Atlanta, it's been important from the beginning for us to be diverse and intentionally inclusive. So we've made a lot of progress. Proudly report that from the end of 2020 to the end of 2021, we went from 34% women of color in our community to 51%.
Wow.
And the majority of those women are Black, and a lot of our women are business owners, founders, and freelancers. So we have done a lot of work. We have an anti-racism accomplices community group, which is mostly made up of our white members, some non-Black women of color. But it's when I say like-minded, it's yes, we're progressive, we're open-minded, but a lot of times we're not getting exposure to diversity employee resource groups that we talked about,
Yeah.
because we work for ourselves. But it's women who are ready to engage, support, and sort of be active. It's
Yes.
been so cool, especially being in the state of Georgia over the past 5 years. These women have mobilized for voting rights for the first time in their lives with the Lola community. So it's been really cool to, it's building your tribe. So when your tribe says, let's make sure, our democracy is still intact, particularly in
Yeah.
Georgia, dozens of us band together and for the first time became poll observers, poll workers, line warmers,
Wow.
supported grassroots organizations. So it's been really cool, particularly coming from New York, where that's not really a thought, because
Mhm.
it's all blue and progressive. So that's been really awesome to see, being here.
That's awesome to hear. And I love when organizations take it to another level, because you do have the professional development organizations, but having that connection within the community and hoping to try to better the community is a huge aspect, because it shows the layers that you need to have, not only as a business owner, but as a person of the community, of having that connection with it, because the community help fund and help build your business. And if you connect with them, it's kind of like that hand in hand aspect, which
Yeah.
is key, which I love and everything. So I'm so excited to hear about this with the Lola. And then also when I went to your website, which of course everybody, as you're watching, right in the banner below, the link is right in our banner. I'll go to the lola.com to support or to become a member there. But I did see on there that the Lola offers space that you can host your next event or gathering. What type of space do you offer, and how can a company or a person rent your space from your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. We host events, that members host or non-members as well. Our main lounge, so we're across 2 floors, about 5,000 square feet. We have a main lounge that kind of looks like a really, comfortable living room with different areas to sit in, some tables and desks and stuff, but we can fit a good number of folks in there. And then we also have an event space. That members also rent out, that we can do screenings and panel conversations. We also used to do pre-pandemic yoga, meditation, breath work. And then you can also rent any of our meeting rooms, and we have about 6 of those. Just last Friday, we worked with an organization called National ACE. It's the AAPI Chamber of Commerce for entrepreneurs. So they hosted an event in our main lounge and in our event space. We talked about the Stop Asian Hate campaign and kind of where we are today. And it was a gathering of AAPI business owners and elected officials who are focused on supporting AAPI business owners. So it was a cool thing to host at the Lola, to have a lot of folks from, government as well as business owners. So yeah, we are excited to do things like that. And again, like you said, reaching out to the community, building awareness on our side, but also learning about more resources that we can connect our members to.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. So that definitely gives opportunity either through a membership that you can do space through, but then you can also reach out seeing how you can rent it. So definitely, if you're looking for a new place, or especially if you're an organization that is women centered, definitely reach out to the Lola. That way you have that twofold connection to the organization that is women centered, but then also having that dual connection for both organizations. So I'd love to hear that. And of course, everybody, especially in Atlanta, always looking for a different place to have meetings and events, because nobody wants to be stuck in a hotel all the time or conference rooms at their own campus or their company. So they try to go somewhere else to give a new, refreshing view. So this gives a new perspective for a lot of businesses in the Atlanta area to know there's another place that they can look at renting for space to change up for meetings and things, or company or department events or celebrations that they can have there. So that is a great little option. Definitely going to be talking to you more about that, because as we're getting back into doing stuff again, I know for my company, I plan a lot of events, so I definitely will have to call you.
Yeah, please do. And I was going to say hello at the-lola.com if anyone's interested in reaching out and finding out more information.
Yes.
Email us.
Yes, definitely. And then, of course, like I said, look at the banner. You'll find the website along with their social media, so you can definitely stay connected and keep up with what's going on with the Lola and how you can support them. Also, you mentioned that you offer a array of different memberships that provide also an array of benefits. Tell us a little bit more about the different memberships you offer and what they can provide the women in Atlanta and beyond.
So we have a space membership option that gives you access to our space. You will get like a access on your phone, so you can kind of key in and key out anytime. That also gives you full access to our digital platform. And then we have a digital only membership, and the information is all on our website. As far as benefits, our space membership, if you're a member there, you get, coffee, teas included. It's all self-service. So we partner with all women-owned businesses. So we actually just switched over our coffee from a part women-owned local coffee company to an all women-owned coffee company who's also a member, Black Girl Black Coffee. We have snacks. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Oh, amazing! It's delicious. It's like the best coffee I've had too. So we have snacks from a women-owned business, and then we also have a self-service wine fridge where you can grab single serving bottles to like full-size bottles, depending on what you're in the mood for. But everything you grab and you Venmo us. Yes. And then we also partner with Her Market. We have a shop in our space, and it's a rotating variety of products, all owned by women of color. So Honey Pot, if you're familiar with them, they're one of the more well-known products that we carry. But again, you can grab and Venmo and go. And members parking's free, which is hard to come by, and we're in a great location in Atlanta. And then we have about half a dozen meeting rooms that you can book. We have a great podcast studio, Dana, if you ever want to give it a try. Nice. And we're right across the street from Pond City Market, so you can walk. Members today were talking about how happy we were that Sweet Greens opened across the street. You can come in and out. People come pre-pandemic more so than recently, would come on the weekends just to get away from their homes, and they'd read the Sunday newspaper. Some folks I caught reading a book or watching TV in one of our meeting rooms. So again, it's really your space to invest in yourself. And I know self-care is always a hot topic, but like you have to take time to make sure that you're resting and recharging. So we focus on that a lot with our members as well.
Oh, very nice. And I love the fact, because I know when I attended with Capwa's, they had last month, a Women of Color conference, and I got introduced to a woman winery that has her own winery and everything. And I was just like, oh, this is good to know. Because I always like to keep abreast of that, whether it's that or like Uncle Nearest, which is a woman-owned whiskey company and all that. So it's they're located in Tennessee, but Uncle Nearest is a woman, Black-owned woman business. So it's things like that. Because I know with my ERG that we have at our company, our women in network, when they had a thing during International Women's Day of like the businesses keeping abreast of like businesses that are women owned, small businesses, to get that support, giving your dollars to that, because your dollars make that visibility happen by supporting that. And of course, you may spend a little bit more for this particular product versus buying something like in Walmart or something, but you're allowing that brand or that company to build up enough revenue that they could be considered seriously by a Target or a Walmart to have their products carried in their stores. So we want to always keep that in mind, that you may spend a little bit more with a woman-owned business, but whether it's soaps, whether it's wine or whiskey or clothing or anything, that's the way we can allow them to have that visibility by using our dollars to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We get that a lot from bigger companies of like, we want to support, Black-owned businesses or women-owned businesses. And they look at us, they say, do you know any? And we said, not only do we know a lot of them, they're fantastic, because we don't want to hear that they're too hard to find. I want to support, but I can't. Absolutely not. If you host an event with us, we will suggest all women-owned businesses to be the vendors and partners. A lot of them are women-owned color and Black-owned businesses. So that's part of, honestly, the joy of what we get to do. We get to promote and amplify the businesses that our members own. And you mentioned, I think before, how do we support and sort of the confidence angle for women. Our mission statement is actually to gather as women to raise our voices, tell our stories, and dismantle systems that don't serve us. And that tell our stories piece is really important to us. Storytelling, to be a good storyteller, an effective storyteller, to have the confidence to be able to, articulate who you are, what you're doing. That is a big part of what we do. So every month we have a different theme, and then we have an events week for our members, and we really focus on those different aspects of what our members are looking for, the common challenges that we have. Next month, or in April, it's building your financial power. So we have some great speakers lined up in a couple weeks. And then in May, it's finding support, and we have an amazing in-house bartender who's partnering with Black Bourbon Society. It's a Black women-owned business. They're doing a Derby-themed mint julep happy hour. So always a good time, and you're always learning more about women-owned businesses.
Well, I definitely have to talk to you as definitely connecting to that network of like bringing them for my company, as far as, and there's probably several people in the audience that will have for speakers or events, like you're talking about the bartender, hey, having them do it could be a virtual event or in person, that they can do a little bartending class or something. So I would love to definitely connect with you more on that. So because I'm always looking for new things that of people we can connect, especially those that are of women of color, that we can work with within our company, because we're very conscious of that at my full-time job. But then I know a lot of people that are in my circle, they look for businesses that are women owned, people of color owned, because they
Awesome.
don't get in front of this the shine, or get in front of the light as much with a lot of businesses or a lot of promotions. They tend to be one of those that you have to hear about, or until they build enough clout within social media or something before people start like, "Ooh, who's this?" Versus like, a lot of times the ones that are male centered, that they
Yeah.
get, they have those connections that kind of get them more towards the front. So you're helping to, like I said, give those extra steps that most women don't have to kind of get themselves seen, build that network and connections, and so much more. And once again, along with the website, you can you provide the email address for anyone who's looking to book, like I said, the space, or probably connecting with the Lola about utilizing your network to book them for upcoming events with their companies or events that they have coming up?
Yeah, if you email us at hello@the-lola.com, we will happily get back to you with more information or have you come, tour the space.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm so very excited about this new opportunity, especially having the virtual. And of course, JD, I see he says, "Who's that? Is that?" Yes, she is back. We have her back, JD. She has come back on this show. Uh, she was on the panel, but now we have one-on-one with her today. So yes, she is on the show back again. So thank you for tuning in again, JD, and being a part of today's show and everything. Um, Also, is there any last minute things or anything else you would like the audience to know about the Lola, how to support, even though you may not be a nonprofit, anyway, like a company or individual would like to support the Lola to help it build and grow, and along with any other things that you would like the audience to know about the Lola?
Yeah, we're always looking to partner with folks who are sort of mission and values aligned. We've had, bigger companies sponsor memberships. We have a lot of great programs and resources, as I mentioned. We partner right now with 55 Black female entrepreneurs, with the thesis of, if we can better support the most underrepresented within
Yes,
our community of professional women, then we will all benefit.
yes.
So we're in talks right now with a potential company who wants to sponsor additional memberships for women of color owned businesses. We're really excited about. So we're always looking to partner with folks who are looking to support, similar to us, women of color, founders, freelancers, business owners. We joke around that our sweet spot is, women in transition, and it's like new to Atlanta, career transition. But then if you really think
Yes.
about it, when are we not in transition?
Whether
So,
it's changing companies, whether it's changing to Atlanta, changing from being single to married,
yeah.
there's constant transitions for us women,
And
especially
then menopause,
transition
yeah.
wise. Exactly. Going from being in your 20s, experiencing the aches and pains of being in your 30s and 40s. So, yes, it's a whole range of transitions for women. But I thank you so much for coming on the show. Of course, when you were on the panel with Sue Ann, and of course, and I heard about you and several of the other ladies about what you all do. It's just like, of course, we wanted to extend the invitation, like, hey, we'd love the audience to get to know who you are and what you do even more. So when you were like, I'm open, I was like, great, let's book her, get her on. But I would like I said, definitely love to connect out after the show. I'll reach out to you via email. Definitely want to see how my company and my ERGs can look at working with the Lola, but then also how we can support by renting the facilities, or definitely working with the women business owners there and doing different things with our company. So once
Yeah.
again, I thank you so much for your time, for coming on. Once again, everybody who is watching and also watching this on the replay on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, definitely support, or you can join the Lola and learn more about it at the-lola.com. You can also find them on IG and Twitter at the Lola_women. And also you can find them on Facebook at the Lola Women. And that way you can stay engaged, learn more about what's going on and what things that they have within the community, but then also within the Lola they have going on. And that way you can see how you can be a part. And of course, if you're dealing with, of course, still working from home, you need a break from your family. Look into that rental membership that you can go to the Lola, get that quiet time that you can just focus on what you're doing while supporting a woman focused organization and woman founded organization too. And then that way you have that support within the community, but also getting that time away. And like she said, definitely that you have to give your love a little self-care by going there. And then of course, doing a little, what a lot of people like to do self-care with, a little retail therapy. That retail therapy right inside of the Lola.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get a glimpse of it, go to their website. They have a little video that is playing as you're on the website, and you'll see a glimpse of that little shop. And you're going to be like, wait, is that at Linux? No, it's at the Lola. It is at the Lola.
That was amazing, Dana. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Because I mean, I literally, when I went to the site and after I got like your website and I went to it, I'm like, wait, is that a shop? And I was just like, no, it really is. Oh my gosh. And I was like, look at this. Oh, I have to ask her about this when she comes on the show. And I hate that Moana couldn't be on it, because I know she probably has some more questions for you. But we definitely appreciate your time. We definitely want to be respectful of your time and everything, because you are definitely juggling many, many hats, juggling many, many balls in the air with the little ones. You also have you're also a animal mom. And on top of that, you have your business of being a business mom, because your business is your baby. But we thank you, and thank you for what you're doing in the community. But most of all, definitely making this opportunity that is few and far between available to not only the women of Atlanta, but the women anywhere in the world that would like to be part of it through your digital membership, that they can be connected and have access to those resources. And of course, when they come to visit Atlanta, they can come to the Lola and check it out and be in the number with there. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for telling everybody about the Lola, and everyone, once again, who are watching, definitely go and support and check out the Lola, but also follow them and keep abreast of them on IG, Twitter, and Facebook. Once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in for the show. Definitely tune in next week. We have some more of the Winterfest guests powered by MomoCon that will be on, getting you ready for MomoCon happening in May, Memorial Day weekend. We will have a couple of different guests, so look forward to the announcements. So you can definitely tune in for those episodes of some of the guests from Winterfest powered by MomoCon to get you excited and ready for MomoCon next month for Memorial Day weekend. So you can get ready for that, because that is anyone who have little ones, it's a very family centered con. They have voice actors and everything coming. So like this year they have different people coming from Disney. So you got the voice of Goofy. You have the voice of Max from the Goofy movie. A lot of the different shows that the kids like to watch, and from animation, from from Disney and more. Of course, if your husband's into wrestling, they have definite wrestlers that are going to be there too. So there's a little something for everybody at MomoCon, being a family-centered con. So anyone looking for something to do with the little ones during Memorial Day weekend, definitely check out MomoCon, and it's at the Georgia World Congress Center that particular weekend. So once again, thank you so much for coming aboard. We definitely look forward to definitely working with you more in the near future. And of course, when Moana comes down, because she's located in the DC area, we definitely have to come by the Lola, and that way we can check it out, and definitely have to do an episode there so people can see the Lola and definitely check.
We would love that. Yeah, please let me know.
Definitely will. Well, thank you again for your time, and everyone have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Aloha, everyone.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
I've done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.